Welcome back.
Good one. Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I mean, we're only doing 2 a month, and I don't even think we did 2 last month.
I don't think we did it either.
So, anyways, what are you going to talk about?
We're here. We're going to recap on what the last couple weeks since we recorded, and also we're going to talk about concept I'm calling pressure versus pursuit sex. Well, first of all, I want to applaud myself that, again, Ryan's always like, you don't like to talk about this, but everybody wants to hear about this. And just point out that I actually am talking on a public platform about this.
Well, what's this?
About sex.
All right, let's go.
All right. Well, first of all, I think we should, can you recap like the last couple of weeks from your perspective? That way I can build off of it.
The last couple of weeks?
Like with our, like some of the therapy we've been doing, some of the
therapy we've been
experiences we've had. I don't know.
Okay. Well, the one thing that we can talk about that's happened in the last 2 weeks is we did a private plant medicine experience, just the two of us and our mentors.
Our first ever.
At our place in Maine, which was unbelievable. So, I mean, not many people understand what that means or what the concept of it or what. So it's really hard to explain, honestly. But
we were trying today to like figure out how we were going to explain it. But
we do.
I got it.
We do feel that this is one of the things that has really helped us evolve our relationship and our parenting and our marriage and I mean everything really when it comes to our emotional space.
It's not very traditional, but we don't do anything traditional.
Very, very not traditional. Let's put it that way.
It's very alternative.
So, yeah.
But becoming more and more mainstream. I do.
Becoming more known, I would say. There's a lot of people that are super afraid of it. Like I'll bring it up on occasion and there's a lot of people that are just, they're afraid of it.
I kind of test it out with a lot of people. Like I'll kind of dip my toe in a little bit about like, you know, is this a conversation? I think that you have to really like honor and respect. Like
I just wait for people to ask me about it.
Yeah.
I don't.
And like how it's helped you.
Advertising.
Yeah.
It's not.
If I was ever to like, if you asked me even, I think it's been just about 2 years that we've been doing it together on a consistent basis. That if you asked me that, I would first of all openly talk about this. Second of all, I would even have tried that as as a thing. I would just be like, that's nuts. Like that's not me. But like it's been something that has been so drastically life-changing. And I think I've talked about this point before, but one of the things that not only for our marriage it's been life-changing, but for me personally, was especially like the private session we just did, which is our first one, really I feel like took us to a whole different level. Yeah,
I think this whole story just starts with your resistance to doing the private. So why don't you tell everybody?
Yeah. So my resistance to the private. So one of the things that I really leaned into the last couple of years, even with getting into plant medicine, was that things that I'm resisting are actually things that are like going to become my greatest teachers, like actually really rewiring that for myself. And not everything becomes something that I'm like, oh, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to consistently use this. But I have just noticed when I have beliefs about something or resistance to something or misconceptions about something, it's actually the time I need to lean in to explore what that actual resistance is. And so
what you persist.
What you resist persists. Yeah. So one of the huge things on this private was, first of all, it was like a huge opportunity. And this is coming off of, we just did a 6-month program with our mentors. There was a total of 6 couples.
Yeah. So you don't have to go into all that.
Hold on. I just want to tell the backstory.
Just talk about your resistance to it. You don't need to tell the backstory.
Okay. But that was that has to be part of the intro because that was like a very pivotal moment that got me to this private.
Okay.
So when we ended that 6-month program, there was a lot of stuff that for me personally that came up at the end that I was like, I was afraid of. And I felt very strongly that I needed to lean into those fears that were coming up.
Do you want to
no, I don't really think I want to talk about them because I don't want to get like sidetracked on a different topic. Okay. But one of the things that happens when you are going to do something like this is a lot of times your unconscious mind starts, which we all have one. I should say subconscious, not unconscious, starts doing like basically a dump of, hey, here's some things you need to look at. Here's some things that you're afraid of. Here's some things you want to see happen. It's like it can be a very crazy experience because your unconscious mind is basically starting to prep you for some of the things that are presenting itself ready for you to heal. And after the 6-month program we did, which was again, life-changing for me as well as us. What started to happen for me was I really felt called to do this private. And I saw it as an opportunity. But the minute I committed to it, shit started to come up. Like, okay, you're going to have to face this. And it felt very dark for me. Like, it felt very scary. Like, I was going to have to look and confront some things that I was like definitely afraid of. And one of the things that was I was scared of, that I confided in one of my really good friends, was that I was like very nervous about being like emotionally naked with just Ryan. And not in a way, like one of the things that doing this type of session was it will allow you to talk about things that maybe are in the back of your mind, but you would not be able to know how to address otherwise in your normal everyday life. Basically, like the best way I can describe it is like it kind of removes some of your ego and it helps you present your authentic self when you're doing a session like this. So you have less of a filter.
It helps you say things you hesitate or otherwise.
Yeah, like you're starting to make, like you have fears associated too, right? Like I can't say that might hurt his feelings. I can't say that because I don't know if like I'm ready to talk about that. Like that's the ego self sharing a story, right? And it's also a story that's probably keeping you trapped in your own life. And so what ended up happening with the private is, as the minute I committed to it, I started to have a lot of these fears of like, holy shit, when we do these types of retreats as a group, I can kind of disappear in the group. I can connect with other people in the group. It doesn't leave me face to face with Ryan where it's just him and I. And then also thinking about like bringing our mentors into our conversation in a very authentic way, like bearing basically like
very private,
any of our like private conversations that like, but I also might not know how to have. So I started to have a lot of fear and anxiety come up about this. And it was like it was like making me feel like really uneasy, where I almost was like, I don't know if I want to do this. And I worked through some of that and I was able to get to the point where we're like, on the other side of it, we get to do this private. And like Ryan said, like it was friggin' amazing because we were at our cabin in Maine, like private, like it was so quiet up there. And our cabin in Maine is a place where the energy of it just like is like I can drop in to relaxation very quickly. And I just felt really safe after I worked through the anxiety, but I had to get through the anxiety of what I was going through first. And one of the big things that came up for me that I had told Ryan previously before us doing this was like, I was still really, really feeling that I was not adequate enough, like in our like sexual relationship.
In our sex life.
In our sex life.
In our sexual partnership. Fuck.
Okay.
In our sexual relations. God.
So, where, like I said, like we've talked about many times, like with our therapist, Steven,
Okay, why is that?
But
why did you feel that way?
Okay, because I had a lot of shame attached to sex, and I could not put my finger on where the shame was coming from.
Okay. Do you think a lot of women have that?
I do. I do. And I had like a lot of like different things that had come up of where I thought it might have come from. But it was just like, it was like a wound that was just like continually reopened every time we like had any sort of disconnect when it came to sex, which, like, let's face it, if you've been married 16, or we've almost been married 16 years.
And all the avoidance of the conversations that ever happened.
Yes.
Like avoiding the conversation because it was uncomfortable because you felt inadequate. And
and you would always like confront me on it. And I would get very defensive.
Not always.
Or avoidant of it.
After a while, I stopped because that's what would happen is you would get angry.
Yeah. So which I would say is like, and I would get angry and I would shut down. Like that was my pattern. Mm-hmm. And also too, what would happen for me is like, I would always feel like you had me in this box of like, hey, this is the story about Kendra with sex. And I was like so frustrated that this kept coming up as a topic. Like I wanted, how I originally heard it, which I shared with Ryan, was like, how I would say it is like, I just don't want sex to be a problem for us. And let me say this and give myself at least a little bit of credit here. I've also come really, really far with not only this conversation, but like my openness to it, our frequency, the quality of our sex, especially in the last, I would say, year. And
yeah, so I mean, it wasn't necessarily something that maybe people are painting a picture of what that really means, but what I can give you a better understanding of just saying that there was like, you were still always in your head and unable to drop in when it came to being intimate. Yeah. So you would just like, you wouldn't be looking me in the eyes. You'd be looking out the window. You'd be like thinking about our finances. You would be thinking about what you got to do for Lily. You'd be like anywhere but present with me in the moment. And I can't not notice that. I'm like, what I want is like, every man would agree with this, I believe, who is married and having sex with the same person. After a while, like you want to be,
hopefully.
Yeah, you want to be desired as a husband. You want to be like both of you want to be pursued to a degree. You want to both be like enjoying each other's like touch and intimacy, and you want to be like connected, right? So, and for guys, like connection means that like you're looking like you're enjoying doing what you're doing to me, and you're into it, and like you're like present, and it's like fun and connected, and like, wow, this is amazing. Right. So, but that was like always the rub was that like, where the fuck are you? Like, where are you?
And I think a huge thing though is two things. One is that I have to preface this, like, if you haven't listened to us before, I have talked about this and I talk about this very openly now, but I think this is a huge part of the story that needs to be included. I also had some sexual trauma. And what was very interesting is that like, when I thought about like the shame around sex, I feel very confident that I've cleared a lot and healed a lot of the sexual trauma wound. So every time I went back to this conversation, I was like, it's not that in my body. I was like that. And when you say that I wasn't present with you, a lot of times that was because like I sometimes at that point still, it is sometimes a challenge for me to just like be in my heart, but it's also a challenge for me to be in my body physically because of some of that trauma. So one of the things that I've worked on in the last year is like feeling safe with just like being in my body, like confident in my body, and starting to rewire some of my story around sex. And I felt like going into this private, this was going to be a very big thing that I was going to have to confront. And it felt like it was coming from someplace else other than overcoming getting raped. And which it did. It did. It like came from a totally different story. I'm not going to get into that story because that's like, I don't want to share that part. But this was a huge, huge awareness for me to start to see this. And it was not fun in the moment, but I trusted that this was coming up for me to heal, just like I do anytime we enter one of these retreats, and that I was with the right people and the right partner, that I was safe enough to work through some of this shame that I had never really spoken out before. So it was peeling another layer of the onion, and then making sure that I was safe enough where you were not going to continually help open that wound. You were going to encourage me to put Band-Aids, not actually heal it. And or worst case scenario, you were going to pour salt in a wound that was already like a core issue for me that I was I'm aware of, that I want to change, but it cannot change until I identified some of the things that I had with the story around it. And one of the big things that I like, why I was saying like the pressure versus the pursuit, is that one of the things that I would always say to you is like, I felt sex was coming from a place of pressure and performance rather than a place of pursuit where you were pursuing me. And I think that all women, like there's a point in our sex life has always ebbed and flowed. Like there's been like great times, there's been amazing times, there's been like shitty times, there's been, there's been dry spells. Like that's going to happen, especially when you are with a partner at for a long period of time. And I think that I have wanted to rework this story where it's like, and I'll just call it out how it is without telling the stories. Like I started to realize in this private that like a lot of my associations to sex was about punishment, and sexuality was about punishment rather than pleasure.
Which didn't come from me at all.
Yeah, which didn't come from you at all.
But the thing is, like, I didn't fucking know that till now, which is really helpful for me, because then you would just always tell me like I'm judging you. You're just like, I feel judged. I feel judged. I feel pressured, and I feel like I had to perform. And sometimes, which is exactly what I don't. I'm like, it's exactly what I don't want.
But sometimes when you feel like you have to perform that's when you felt I wasn't present, because I would basically go through the motions with not really being present, because I felt that sex was a performance rather than a duty.
And it was like, this isn't good enough for you. Like I've been doing it more and whatever.
So it would spin the story. It would spin the story. So we were able to get to the root of this story. I should say I was able to get to the root of some of the story, where now I can start to rewire this. And, but one of the things that I really thought would be helpful, in terms of podcasts, was just even share, one of the things I started to realize is the less I resented you, as you started to clean up a lot of your stuff, the more available I became to connect with you. I don't know if that's your experience. That's how I feel it. But it was and slowly and surely I've started to see that I don't feel so much pressured. And I also feel like I can tell you no at times without you becoming pouty boy.
Okay. So this is the whole point of this conversation. And one of the biggest takeaways was that you had this story that you felt judged, right? Yeah. Because I would confront you and hold up the mirror over and over and be like, where are you? What, I'm doing the things that are required in order to pursue you and to foreplay and make sure that I'm helping you and I'm pitching in and I'm doing the things. It's hey, what's up? And basically you would feel judged. And then I would get pouty, and then you would think that I was basically internally I was hurt. Right. But then you would interpret that as that, I'm angry or that I'm being pouty. Right.
But I would reflect the mirror back on your wound, which is I'm never enough.
Yes. So it's just okay, I'm not good enough. And this is what happened in the past was you would just, I would get rejected often, or that even when it happened, it would be hello, nobody's there. It's just oh, she doesn't love me. She doesn't find me attractive. Mm-hmm. She doesn't think that I'm the person who can give her this, pleasurable situation. Because as a guy, you want to obviously fulfill the other partner, And like, because
well, you want to be desired too. Like,
of course, you both want to be desired, but like, I want to pleasure you as much as like, probably more so than I want to receive pleasure. And I feel like I couldn't give that to you. And it was just like a whole spun up story. And it all comes from you feeling judged, right? Because I would hold up the mirror and confront you on it, and you would get angry about it. And then I would get pouty and be rejected because
pouty little bitch, Ryan.
Yeah, because I would be hurt. But then you would just fucking rub salt in it, and I would get more pouty. And then we go through these cycles. And that's what kind of came up in the whole plant medicine experience. And it just showed us, it's like, here's your pattern. Here's why this happens. Here's the story and the boxes you put each other in. And then it allows you to like recognize it quickly. And like, basically, like, the more you identify, the more you've seen it, the more you know this pattern, the easier it is to break when it's happening. Right.
Yeah.
And then when you feel like each other, you understand one another, then you have less of this, like, what did you say? Less resentment, right?
Yeah.
So you have less resentment towards one another, which you cannot have connection with somebody that you have resentment for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
sure. Which is the big driver. Like, if we look at the bare bones of the driver of our marriage when it was not in a good place 10 years ago, was literally I was resentful as fuck.
Yeah.
And
for a lot of reasons.
For a lot of reasons, many of them valid.
Yeah.
But I also didn't have anywhere near the tools that I have now.
Well, neither of us did.
Or the people that I have now to work through them.
Neither of us knew what the fuck we were doing.
Yeah.
We were just like.
And I'm not saying we do now, but we have access to tools. And I think a huge thing here is one of the things that became a really big awareness too, which is something that I think we've known, but we've kind of danced around talking about, is like, we also know, like, we are super committed to creating a conscious marriage at this point. Meaning, like, we're ride or die, and it's like, we're going to go through the ups and downs together, the shitty and the like successful together. But like, we're on the same team.
Well, I don't think you can make progress until you're both all in.
Yeah.
I mean,
which means you have to do your own shit, your own internal work, versus you have to do your work. And I think a big awareness of where we've come to at this point now is like, now being able to see, like, first of all, how we are holding up the mirror for each other. And sometimes when you hold up the mirror for each other, that doesn't mean that person wants to look in the mirror. Like, that's also a conscious choice, right? Like, every time you held up the sex conversation, like, it wasn't until, like I said, the last couple of months where I was like, okay, you're showing me something that I know I need to see, even though I really don't want to look in the mirror. Mm-hmm. And then now I feel like I finally, like, kind of looked at it, and it's like, oh, it's not that scary.
Well, I think everybody's marriage has that. I think over time, you become a mirror for one another, and you either recognize and work through it, or you resent each other and split up.
Yeah.
It happens in every marriage. Some marriages, it happens after 5 years. Some it takes longer.
Yeah. And I think a huge thing that we should kind of cover too, maybe you should, I want your insight on this, is like, one of the other things that really came up was something we've also talked about, but like, I felt like we really dove much more into together, which was like starting to know, I think there's a technical term for it. I'm going to say what I think it is, but I'm not positive if it's correct or not, but it's like psychic wounds, where we start to know each other's wounds. Like, what is a sensitive point for each person that is part of our own work? So I'll go first in sharing my wounds. Like, one of my wounds is like shame. Like, I had a lot of, like I said, shame around sex. One of my wounds is like not feeling like I'm enough. One of my wounds is feeling like I have to earn love. These are all wounds that have had different experiences and belief systems and stories that have formed around them. I've undone many of them, but they always are going to be there. It's like, if you broke a bone, it's always going to be a little bit weaker because you broke it. But you are aware of that, and you do stuff to strengthen and overcome that. So I think that, like, one of your wounds, what's one of your wounds?
What's one of my wounds?
What's one of your wounds?
Yeah. I mean, well, I think that as a kid, one of the things that I think presents itself in, like, my adult life that is like insecurity or reactivity is like the not being enough, right? So like not fitting in with friend groups, or not getting chosen by a girl, or like not making
getting rejected,
not making the sports team, or and that's where all that self-criticism has come from, is just like, I fucking suck, I hate myself, all that stuff. Like all that was, I mean, I can think of times at 8 years old, I'm like, I fucking hate myself.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it's really sad to think about that, but this is the stuff that like it's buried so deep in your psyche. But I think the way that you are able to like use it as a superpower is to really see how it has gotten you to where you are today in positive ways. Because a lot of that chip on my shoulder, like proving myself, putting ridiculous, like maniacal persistence into things until I get it. Like that all comes from my childhood wound.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been a lot of good things that have come of that. But there's also a lot of things that make me a shitty person at times when I'm a little bitch, right? When I'm letting it dictate whatever my relationships are, me as a boss sometimes. It's come out, like obviously me as a dad, me as a husband. Like there's times when that little boy comes out, that hurt little boy.
Yeah.
And then I say things that I really wish I could take back. I act in ways I wish I could, change. But when you become more aware of it and you have more control of it and you recognize the patterns, like you are able to like recover quickly. You're able to stop it. Sometimes you're able to like make a U-turn sometimes when you're going down that road.
Well, also I think too, is that when it comes to marriage, when you get to a point where you can have the conversation that we had about like, hey, here's a wound for me. Like you start to become aware of that person's wounds and you become sensitive to them.
Well, it helps you become, I think, a more empathetic person too.
Yes.
Like it's helped me as a doctor. It's helped me everywhere in my life.
Yeah. And what I'm saying is like the next level of our marriage that we talked about was, hey, now we're conscious of each other's wounds and we could speak openly about them.
When everybody has them too.
And everybody has them. And just like you're saying, most of them happened at a very younger age, but we've never like actually looked at them. Right. Which is something that like plant medicine, I know for many people that have gone through plant medicine, like that is a huge thing that it brings up awareness of.
Well, it brings up like, so the saying is like, it's like 5 years of therapy in a night or two.
Yeah. Which I find to be true.
Which is true, but not true. Yeah. I mean, the truth of it is that like things will present themselves that otherwise would take a long time for you to like in your sober mind communicate or like unearth and actually verbalize. Whereas like when you have all this inhibition that's taken away, then this stuff comes up. And this like people that have problems with alcohol, like that comes out all the time. They say and do things they don't mean, and all these things come out. Like that's why people say like, when you're drunk, you just say things that you hold in when you're sober.
Yeah.
Right. But plant medicine is not like that. You're not out of control. It's very hard to explain, but yes, these things from your subconscious, they bubble to the surface and they show themselves to you, and it's up to you to decide what to do with that.
Well, and I think what I was going to say about the wounds is that like what I realized during this last time too, is that like now that we can verbalize what each other's wounds are, and like there's going to be more, like it's not going to be like, hey, this is your wounds for your life and then these are the ones you're going to have to deal with. There's going to be times where you're going to get new ones, but it's like as a partnership, you guys are committed to not, like I said, the three things you can, deepen or like a wound, you can put a Band-Aid on a wound, or you can pour salt in it, and then, or you can help that person heal that wound. Or you can allow that person to do the work that will heal them. And usually that work, like a real wound healing, like on a physiological level, is like coming from the outside, from the inside out, right? Like it's coming from an internal, how do I want to describe this?
I don't know where you're going with this, but.
Well, it's just like healing from the inside out. Like it's like the wound has to be healed from the inside out, and it can't be someone else that does it for you. It has to be you willing to look at that wound. But also when you're in a relationship, it's like I said, knowing those wounds and being sensitive, like you said, increasing empathy around it. Like even when you're reacting like little bitch Ryan, I know like you're acting out of hurt, like because you feel rejected. And like even though you're 40, almost 47 years old,
oh God,
you are reacting from a time when you were not 47 years old. Maybe you were 10 years old. And that's a subconscious response.
So of all this that we've just vomited, so
sorry,
your whole premise of this is like pursuit versus pressure, right? So how do you feel less pressure from me now in our sex life?
Well, I think that we've had like a lot of conversations where it's like, hey, I was like I want you to pursue me. I don't want to feel sexist pressure. Like it's like you're putting more effort into like, hey, these are the things that like turns my wife on. And they might not be a physical turn on. Like she needs more time for this, or like she likes when I do stuff.
Tell me about you. Don't tell me about generally. Just I'm honestly asking you, how do you feel less pressure now? Like in the last.
Well, I think it's because I healed some of the shame. Okay. Like the shame associated to sex.
So it's nothing that I don't do anything different. It's just all about your.
Well, it's me doing it and then you changing your approach where it's like, hey, it's not like awkward of like.
What's my approach that's better?
Like I'm telling you right now.
What?
Is like you've been offering to do things for me. Like my love language is acts of service. So you're consciously making an effort to do things in my love language. You're constantly making it time where it's like
I've done that before though.
Not like you've been doing it recently. Like I have to tell a story. Well, one of my girlfriends.
Hold on. I just want to say this is like here's the conundrum I think a lot of people get themselves in is like, well, I've done this before and it didn't work, right? I could have easily just said that because it's like I've done acts of service before. I've done date nights before. I've paid for a trip before. Like, and you're still like this fucking person I can't connect with.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I see this, when I have moments of this, like, oh my God, this is what I've been like pursuing. Like it's showing up more and more. It makes me way more motivated to do.
Right, because you're helping me get to a relaxed point. If you don't help me and I do all this shit by myself, or I have to hire people to do it because you're not available to do it, like I get to this point where I'm like, it's still on my mind. All of the things I need to fucking do. It's just hard
for you to relax.
For fuck's sake, yeah. But like that's any woman that's managing. I mean, never mind. I mean, a woman that's married, a woman with kids, a woman that's multiple businesses, a woman with any working mom, like. There's, multiple homes we have. Like, there's so many things that I am responsible for.
I think men can just shut it off and compartmentalize better than women.
Yeah, because they leave the office and they're like, all right, I'm done with work.
No, that's not true. When you own a business, that's not true.
Still, it's easy for you to turn it off. A woman, it's like...
It's not easy. It's just I choose to turn it off when I'm like, hey, I want this now. I can put this aside.
Yeah, and I think that part of it is that like we're in an... Maine gives us a different environment.
That's been big.
Right? So that's definitely like that makes a huge difference.
It's our third place.
What do you mean?
Well, we have our home here, which can be stressful.
Yeah.
And we have the office, right? Which like it is what it is. But then Maine is like our third place. It's like our escape. It's our like sanctuary. Yeah. It's our place where I never want that to ever be like a place where it's like, oh God. It's good. It's work. It's like it's stressful. Like I always wanted that.
Yeah, but like even we rent it. So like this weekend, like
a place we can bring friends.
Like I went when we went. I was like, this weekend we have to make it a work weekend because we have tenants coming in, right? And like I was up front. I came with a plan, and you helped me execute the plan. In our old life. I would have literally gone there probably a couple of days early and executed with 15 different people that I would have coordinated and paid because you were at work, because it was easier to do that than to ask for pouty boy Ryan, who was going to complain that I made him work all weekend when I'm like, well, this is one of the things that we're committed to. Now, are we always going to rent our place? Probably not.
Because my story was that like, I'm not going to get anything out of this anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah, which is, wow, that's a shitty story.
Yeah.
Don't keep that one.
Oh, I didn't, obviously.
So, but yeah.
So you're saying you're more receptive to the efforts that I put in? I'm
more receptive and I have less resentment.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also know how to work through when I'm getting resentful versus I did definitely didn't know how to do that before.
Nice. That's good.
And it was like really hot when you were like, remember I said like, you're so sexy right now. And he came down the hill with a wheelbarrow full of firewood. And I was like, oh my God, that's really hot. And then you thought I was joking, but I was like, no, I'm really serious. And what I was going to tell you was one of my girlfriends left me a message the other day, and she was talking about her partner, and she was like, yeah, he volunteered to like stay at my house and like hang up some shades while I was at work and stuff. And she's like, dude, isn't that every woman's fantasy? And I wanted to respond and like interrupt her right away and be like, that's fucking hot. Like, cause I was like, cause my thing is like acts of service, but I was laughing because she said it so like nonchalantly. And I was like, no, that really is a fantasy. And I was like, probably lots of women's fantasies, because it's like, you know, like in the modern day world, like a lot of us are, both partners are working, right? So it's like you're managing so many things, especially if you live in Massachusetts, man. I mean, it's like virtually impossible for you not to be able to have to work.
Get into that.
But like, just really starting to think about like, it's like little things. It's like, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, is like, hey, what can I do to make your life easier? Like if you come from a posture of that, like that's pursuit.
Yeah. Well, I know for me, like when I feel like,
for me anyways,
yeah,
I guess I should say,
I don't know. I just feel like when you are, yeah, like, I don't know if that's what it is now, is that you have less resentment and you're like more open towards me. But yeah, I just feel like you're now like making effort to like come cuddle me on the couch and touch me. And like, we have a lot more touching that's not sexual. It's just like,
yeah.
You know,
well, and I was thinking about this today,
which I love that,
is that like one of the things another friend of ours were talking about how like they've been having less sex frequency wise, but quality sex when they do. And they've been doing more cuddling. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And like, tell me more. And one of the things I was thinking about is like, man, I was like, I used to avoid cuddling a lot with you because there was no fucking cuddle that didn't end up in sex.
Yeah, because you
and it was like, or this like kind of like dry humping like cuddle where it was like kind of like testing waters.
Well, yeah, because I was just like a desperate fucking.
You weren't fucking desperate. Don't get me wrong. Well, don't say that.
It wasn't like I wasn't ever having sex. It was just like empty, empty sex.
You never were deprived.
No, but it was empty.
It was not the connected sex that you wanted. Let's not call it empty, first of all.
Well,
it wasn't empty.
Is it just me that wants that?
No, I think there's lots of people, but it's like if you want me to be honest,
is it just me that wants that, or do you want that also?
Yeah, I like the cuddling when it's not like dry humping my leg, testing out if you're going to be able to stick it in.
Oh my God, making me sound like some pervert. Come on.
I mean, I know all men are like this. I get that.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like
slap your ass, grab your boob.
I know lots of men relationships too, like that. There's times when the opposite is happening, when the woman is more like that, and the not so much the man. But like, there's usually a story behind that too, and like
what?
There's all different types of stories.
What are you talking
of why the person could be like that?
What?
Where it could be opposite, where it's like the woman's more the aggressor and the man is not, right? There's lots of reasons that could be happening, right? But like even one of our friends that was like that, I know she has a great sex life, and she was telling me, she's like, sometimes I get like it was getting to the point where it's just like it was never enough. So I was just like, what the fuck? I don't care. She's like, I'm not going to be pursuer anymore. Like if he wants it, he can come and get it. You know, like, and like they had different challenges, right? So it's like,
yeah, everyone has challenges. I get
yeah.
It. I think the bottom line is like, as long as you are both like, I think wanting like the same thing, which is like you want to deepen your connection, your intimacy, your communication, your friendship, your love, and all that. Like you want, obviously, like part of that is sex, right? And for you, it's going to look different. For me, it's going to look different. And sometimes they collide and they look the same, but they're not always going to look the same. Like,
and they're not always going to it's going to evolve.
Which brings us to the point of like, another thing that's helped us tremendously, like obviously the plant medicine, which if you want to call that
We
therapy
have
or whatever.
We have alliteration happening here.
What?
Plant medicine, and I know where you're going next.
Yeah. So, well, I think that both you and I are healthy people, right? Which is like fucking critical when you're in your 40s. If you want to have a great sex life, you have to be healthy.
Yeah.
Like if you want to have like strong boners, you need to have a good circulatory system. You have to have aerobic fitness. You have to be like healthy. And as a woman, you need to be healthy.
But you've
too.
never had that problem, so
no.
But I know you work with many people that is a challenge.
No, but I work with many people, men and women, that like their sex drive is just not what it used to be, or it's waning. Like premenopausal women in their 40s, men who are like, if you believe in andropause, whatever, they're getting into their 40s, 50s. And I think another thing that
define andropause, because
I don't even know if it's a real thing, but basically what's real is that over time your testosterone drops. It drops.
You're saying this is the men's menopause?
Hold on. Yes. Are you going to let me talk or what? Yes. So testosterone and growth hormone, they drop gradually over time after the age of 30, right?
Yeah, I do know.
So, and it shouldn't fall off a cliff like it does for a lot of men and women both. But the things that have helped us a ton is like, obviously with hormone optimization, right? Testosterone being one of the things that's been a huge help. Mm-hmm. There's other things that have been like a huge, well, I shouldn't say a huge help, but things that have been very interesting experiments that have really helped our sex life. One of them is peptides. There's a couple of peptides that come to mind that have been helpful. PT-141 is one of them. I don't know if a lot of people know about that peptide, but it's I'm trying to remember. It's something to do with bromela something or other. I can't remember exactly the like receptor agonist that it is, but basically it works on the brain. So a lot of like Cialis, tadalafil, that kind of stuff works on your circulatory system, like Viagra, Viagra and Cialis. Yeah. So it's not that. It's a peptide that works on brain receptors, and what it does is it creates more arousal and desire for both men and women. Both each of them can use it. There's like oral strips you can use. There is injectable too, but that has been something that you've experimented with. You've tried, and you said it's been helpful. Yep. There's another one that we haven't tried that I've had people had success with called kisspeptin. That's another good one. So there are different peptides that can help with like sexual desire and whatnot. And then also like Cialis. I don't know if a lot of people know about this. People on TRT seem to know about it because there's a lot of clinics that offer it. Mm-hmm. The reason a lot of men on TRT use Cialis is because it is helpful for vessel health. In other words, it's helpful for nitric oxide production because it doesn't, I don't get into the science of it, but it helps with obviously erections, but also you have vessels in your whole body. So when you lift weights, for example, you get better pumps in the gym. It actually lowers blood pressure. It's prostate protective. There's a lot of cool stuff when it comes to like low dose tadalafil, for example. And there's a lot of men that use it, and it's been a tremendous help for a lot of people. So like testosterone, low dose Cialis, peptides like PT-141, kisspeptin. Did I miss any?
No, I mean, I think that like one of the things that's been huge too for me is like using the estrogen cream. Mm-hmm. I don't do estrogen, but I don't need it at this point. But like that, I know a lot of women, 45 to 50-year-old, that like estrogen, the right type of estrogen for them as they've started going to the change has been life-changing for them. Mm-hmm. But I use the estrogen cream.
Yeah, the topical
vaginal, and that definitely makes a huge difference. Mm-hmm. And it's like so cheap. It's so easy. You just got to get it from a good source.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that are like embarrassed to talk about these topics, right? Because it's like, vaginal dryness is a real thing, mm-hmm. Men erectile, like not even just erectile, like can't get it up. It's just like, it's not quite like as strong as it used to be type of thing, or even just like libido and desire. So there's a lot of helpful like things out there, which, I deal with a lot with weaponized wellness, with doing functional blood chem and, working with people on hormone optimization peptide programs.
I think a huge thing too, that like just that only one thing you left out is that like there are a lot of men and women too. Like I've been having this conversation quite often because I'm at that age where it's like stuff's starting to shift. I'm going to be 45 years old. I know I'm going to go through it. Every single woman can't deny they're going to go through peri and menopause, right? The question is like, how does it affect you? And I'm at this place where like, if you have access to this stuff, which I feel so freaking blessed that we do, why would you not utilize it to like help you as much as possible? But one of the things I think that is huge is that there's a lot of cookie cutter people out there where it's like, you see men all the time with like, they're on testosterone, but it's like not the right dose, or they're not using like the aromatizers correctly.
Or they have side effects, which your TRT program should never have side effects, because then you're just on drugs.
Yes. And then like, and same thing for women's hormones. It's like women's hormones, there are so many friggin' variables. And like, we're really blessed that like the doctors that we use in the HRT side of our business are like, they are very, very versed and professional about like all of those variables, and they look at the whole picture. And I think that a lot of these clinics that you just walk in and you're like, hey, I want a GLP-1. Hey, I want a Somorelin, like all of these things, they can just give them to you without really knowing the whole picture. So you've been doing a lot of cleanup on that. And I think that's a really critical point to like look at.
Yeah. Well, they're internal medicine specialists. So
yeah.
In other words, they look at, all of the organ systems in the body. But I'll close with this, because I know there's a lot of people that are like, well, why do so many people need hormone therapy now? Like, what is the deal with it? It's so prominent now. Everyone's talking about it. What I've learned is that everybody's lived on the same planet for the same amount of time. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and all of us have had chronic exposure to physical, chemical, and mental stressors that are totally unnatural, right? Depending on your upbringing, if you're a woman and you were on a contraceptive pill for a lot of years, you were on hormones that have probably affected your later in life, hormonal health to a degree. If you're a guy and you've basically like, you were overweight at one point, had insulin resistance, you have like smoked cigarettes for a lot of your life, you've drank alcohol a lot of your life, whatever, you've had environmental exposures, you've been under chronic emotional stress for most of your life, you sat at a desk for 30 years, like all that shit, like all of it compounds and creates this perfect storm of like a ball of stress that suppresses hormone and adrenal and thyroid function. It affects your brain, etc. So a lot of people are surprised to know the effects of like cumulative stress over their life and how it's impacted their hormones, and how over time, like where people want quality of life in their 40s, 50s, 60s. They want to have like athletic performance. They want to have like enjoyable
longevity, like
enjoyable sexual experiences with their partners. They want to have longevity. Yeah. So we have these tools now with research-backed effectiveness that's safe, effective, etc. So anyways, we'll just close with that.
Well, I just think it's like, I mean, just like you said, it's a big conversation, but it's like something that is so friggin' valuable that like, I feel, like I said, blessed that we have access to. So
yeah. So anyway,
I think that it's a good conversation to have.
Yeah. So look us up, weaponizedwellness.com. Send us a, direct message, I guess my Instagram handle is the Weaponized Dad, or Facebook, look our names up. You can shoot us a message anytime. Happy to answer questions or, have a conversation.
All right. Till next time.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.